Would you know how to live knowing exactly when you're going to die? Emily Carter never had a choice. On a rainy night, a simple touch on her phone screen triggered something that would forever change what was left of her life. When the app first appeared, it seemed harmless. Just another one of those bizarre apps no one takes seriously. Until the notifications started. And then, the clock began to count down. In the end, only one question remained. Was it really fate, or was something much darker in control? Emily Carter lived in a place where time seemed to stand still. The small town of Maple Ridge, Vermont looked like one of those places that only appear on postcards. Beautiful autumn leaves, hand-painted wooden houses, and a peace that bordered on boredom. But for Emily, peace was a distant word. Since her mother passed away, she had been dragging herself through a meaningless routine. At 28, Emily spent her days working at the local grocery store and her nights alone in her rented home. Her friends had moved on, but she still felt stuck in her grief. That night, as the rain poured relentlessly, Emily threw herself onto the couch and picked up her phone, trying to escape the emptiness. While scrolling through the App Store, a title caught her attention. Last Moments, discover the most important date of your life. Curious and without much thought, she pressed download. Emily didn't expect much from the app. Maybe it was just another one of those useless games that play with superstitions like horoscopes or personality tests. When the installation finished, a simple interface appeared, a black background with white letters. Enter your full name and date of birth. For some reason, typing in her information made Emily feel uneasy. But skepticism won. She entered her details and tapped the Predict button. The screen went dark for a few seconds as if the app had frozen. Then a date appeared in glowing letters, December 10th, 2024 at 11:45 p.m. Emily let out a nervous laugh. "That's weird," she muttered, trying to ignore the shiver that ran down her spine. A notification popped up immediately. Every second matters. Emily locked her phone and set it aside, but the phrase echoed in her mind. Something about the app felt more serious than she expected. The next morning, Emily had almost forgotten about the app. But as she sipped her coffee and listened to the local news, something caught her attention. The anchor mentioned an accident that had occurred the night before. A driver lost control and hit a pedestrian at exactly 11:45 p.m. Emily's hand trembled slightly as she held her cup. "Just a coincidence," she whispered to herself. But throughout the day, these coincidences began to pile up. At work, while helping a customer organize groceries, the woman casually asked, "Do you believe in destiny?" Emily froze but smiled mechanically. Later, at home, as she tried to relax, the digital clock in her kitchen flickered and froze. At 11:45 p.m., that was enough to make her pick up her phone. When she unlocked the screen, there was a new notification from the app. The countdown has begun. Now, Emily couldn't ignore the fear. She tried to uninstall the app. She followed every step, cleared the phone's cache, even restored the device to factory settings. But when she rebooted it, there was the Last Moments icon, untouched. By now, the notifications had become more persistent. Are you ready for the inevitable? Avoiding isn't the same as escaping. As she tried to ignore the messages, the app began showing images. That night, a photo of her own living room appeared on her phone. Emily recognized the angle. It seemed to have been taken from somewhere near the ceiling, but she had never installed any cameras. Her phone slipped from her hand. It was impossible. Shortly after, she received a call from a private number. Answering with her breath held, she heard only slow, heavy breathing. When the call ended, a new message appeared on the screen. Every choice brings you closer to the final date. Emily was trapped, and she knew it. December 10th, 2024 finally arrived. From the early hours of the morning, Emily felt the invisible weight of something she couldn't explain. Every sound around her seemed amplified. Every minute felt like a step toward an inevitable abyss. She tried to escape. She got in her car and drove to a remote cabin in the woods where there was no cell service or internet. But Last Moments kept working, as if it was rooted in something beyond the device. At 10 p.m., a notification appeared on the screen. Last 105 minutes, watch. A video began playing. The footage showed Emily living her life over the past months, as if someone had been secretly recording her. At the end, a chilling image appeared. Her own house, seen from outside with a shadowy figure standing at the door. At 11:45 p.m., the cabin lights flickered. Emily heard footsteps. And then, everything went dark. The next morning, Maple Ridge awoke like any other day. But the cabin where Emily had sought refuge was empty. There were no signs of struggle, only her phone on the floor, its screen still on. The local police found the device displaying a new prediction. Next victim, Jacob Miller, December 21, 2024, at 8:30 p.m. The mystery spread through the town, but no one could explain what had happened to Emily. The phone was turned off, but weeks later, Jacob Miller, an unfamiliar name in the town, reported receiving a notification on his phone. Download last moments, the most important date of your life awaits. And now tell me, would you download an app like this? Would you trust your life to something as simple as a tap on a screen? Or are we already more connected than we should be? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like the video to help the channel grow. Oh, and be careful with the apps you download. You never know which one might be watching you. Imagine taking a selfie at home just like you do almost every day. You smile, apply a filter, and while adjusting the details, you notice something strange. There, in the background of the photo, is a figure, a face, something that shouldn't be there. That's exactly what happened to Emily Sanders, an ordinary teacher in a small town in Maine. But what seemed like a simple glitch in a popular app quickly turned into something much darker and much more personal. Emily Sanders had a life that anyone would consider normal. She lived in Ridgewood, Maine, a small town surrounded by dense forests and a peaceful atmosphere. By day, she was a history teacher dedicated to her students and the local school. At night, she found solace in her passion for photography. Recently, Emily discovered an app called Ethereal Lens, famous for its innovative filters. "Reveal the invisible essence" was the app's slogan, and it promised to turn ordinary photos into works of art. Curious, Emily downloaded the app on a Friday night as she prepared to relax with a glass of wine. The first photo she took was in her living room, lit only by the soft glow of a lamp. She chose a filter called Nebulous and adjusted the contrasts. When she finished, something caught her attention. In the background of the image near the bookshelf, there was a blur. "It must be the lighting," she murmured, zooming in on the image. But it wasn't just a blur. It was a shadow, shaped like the silhouette of a person. Emily brushed off the incident and saved the photo, assuming it was just a strange reflection. But that was only the beginning. In the days that followed, Ethereal Lens began to reveal things Emily never imagined seeing. Over the next few days, Emily used Ethereal Lens several times. She enjoyed how the app transformed her simple photos into something almost magical. But the shadow she saw in the first image lingered in her mind. On Monday, after returning from school, Emily decided to take another photo. She was sitting on the couch with her cat, Jasper, beside her. She selected a filter called Mystic Veil and captured the moment. This time, the figure was clearer. In the corner of the room, near the window, was the silhouette of a woman with long, disheveled hair. Emily froze. She zoomed in on the photo and felt a chill run down her spine. That figure, it looked familiar. This is impossible," she murmured, her eyes wide. The figure resembled Claire, her best friend who had died just a few months earlier. Trying to calm herself, Emily showed the photo to her coworker Anna the next day. "Do you think this is strange?" Emily asked, handing her phone to Anna. "It's just the app. These filters are so exaggerated they sometimes create random images," Anna replied with a smile. But something about Anna's tone seemed unsure. Emily tried to laugh it off, but an unsettling doubt remained. Was she imagining things? That doubt would soon turn to fear, because that night Emily took another photo and discovered that Ethereal Lens wasn't creating anything random. It was showing her something she couldn't avoid. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, the image of the figure in the photo hovered in her mind. The face looked like Claire, but it was distorted, like a reflection in shattered glass. Restless, she picked up her phone and opened Ethereal Lens. "Just to prove it's all in my head," she thought. She took a new selfie in her bedroom, with the lights off and only the phone's screen illuminating the room. The app processed the photo. When the filter applied, Emily dropped her phone. The photo showed Claire sitting at the foot of her bed, her face partially obscured by her disheveled hair. But her eyes, they were fixed on Emily, as if they could see beyond the lens. Emily tried to delete the app, but the uninstall button wouldn't work. Instead, notifications began popping up on the screen. Capture the truth. Take more photos. The next day, Emily decided to avoid the app. But while teaching, a student handed her the phone saying, "Miss, you left this on your desk." On the screen was a new photo. Emily didn't remember taking it. It was of the classroom, but in the background among the students was Claire. Emily could no longer deny it. The app was connected to something far darker, something that wanted to force her to confront her past. Emily froze, staring at the photo on her phone. Her students, busy with assignments, didn't notice the look of pure terror on her face. The image showed Claire, but that was impossible. Or was it? Back at home, Emily sat on her couch and for the first time decided to confront what was happening. She opened the app and began exploring the photos. Each image was more disturbing than the last. It wasn't just Claire appearing anymore. There were other faces, figures of people Emily vaguely recognized but was certain were dead. A notification appeared. Take a photo where it all began. Emily immediately understood what it meant. She grabbed her car keys and drove to the road where Claire had had her accident months earlier. It was a secluded curve surrounded by trees that blocked the moonlight. With trembling hands, she took a photo of the location. When the app processed the image, Emily's heart nearly stopped. On the screen, she saw Claire inside the car, just as she had been on the night of the accident. But this time, Claire was looking directly at the camera, her lips forming one clear word. "Why?" Emily sobbed. That's when she remembered. She had ignored Claire's last call that night. Emily knew she couldn't escape what the app demanded. The terror would reach its peak when she was forced to choose between erasing the pain or confronting the truth. Back at home, Emily sat in silence, the weight of guilt following her every move. She opened the app one last time. A message appeared on the screen. Erase the pain or accept the truth. Choose. Emily hesitated. Erasing the pain was tempting. She'd never see Claire again, never feel the burden of that night, but what would happen if she chose the truth? With trembling fingers, she clicked, "Accept the truth." Suddenly, everything went dark. When her vision returned, she was inside Claire's car on the night of the accident. She could hear the tires screeching, the sound of the ignored call ringing from the dashboard, and Claire screaming, "Emily!" Emily thought she could change something in that moment, but in reality, she was destined to become part of Ethereal Lens's dark cycle. Anna, worried about Emily's disappearance, stopped by her house after several days with no response. Inside, she found the living room empty and Emily's phone on the couch with Ethereal Lens still open. On the screen was one last photo. Emily, sitting in the passenger seat of Claire's car, her eyes wide with terror. Terrified, Anna took the phone with her. But that night, as she reviewed the gallery, the app opened on its own. A notification appeared. "You're next, take a photo." The video ends with one final image, Anna's reflection, and Emily standing behind her. Now it's your turn. What do you think really happened to Emily? Is Ethereal Lens just an app, or is there something far darker behind it? Leave your theories in the comments, but remember, every selfie might reveal something you're not ready to see. Take your photos carefully. You never know who else might appear in them.